Okay, so guys, let's say for example we have here two triangles. So we have here triangle, okay, we have here triangle TRI, a triangle TRI, and we have here triangle ANG. Okay, so we can say right off the bat that angle T and angle A are corresponding angles, angle R and angle N are corresponding angles, and angle I and angle G are corresponding angles. So they work like that. Corresponding angles work like when there's a sequence between the letters. So that technically means that the sequence of the letters are very important in correspondence. So angle T is the corresponding angle of angle A for these two triangles. Okay, so just remember that the sequence or the order of the numbers are very important in terms of defining or identifying corresponding parts of different geometrical figures. And for example, we have here two triangles. Okay, so what are the corresponding sides given that we have here angle R is congruent to angle N? Okay, so angle R is congruent to angle N, and side IT or line segment IT is congruent to line segment AG. Okay, so we can already see that the corresponding parts of the different triangles here are congruent. Okay, so this angle right here, okay, so angle R corresponds to angle N, and they're congruent. And we can also see that line segment IT or line segment TI is the corresponding line its corresponding line segment is AG, and both of them are congruent. Okay, so let's see some of the other corresponding angles. Okay, so other corresponding angles could be angle T and angle A again, and also angle I and angle G. And also we have the corresponding sides. So we have your line segment TR. So its corresponding side, since we have here in the order, based on the order of their names, its corresponding side is line segment AN. Very simple and very easy. We have here, guys, a postulate. We call it the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent postulate, or simply the CPCTC. So its name, CPCTC, simply implies the theorem or the postulate itself. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So it basically states its theorem or its postulate. The statement itself is inlaid on the name of the theorem. So that simply means that any corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Let's say, for example, again, that angle TRI, okay, angle TRI is congruent. Okay, let's say these two angles are congruent, angle ANG. So therefore, we can say that since these two triangles are congruent, therefore their corresponding sides are also congruent based on CPCTC, or the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent postulate. Okay, so based on that postulate, we can say that their corresponding sides of the corresponding sides of these two triangles are congruent. So we can say that angle T, okay, since triangle TRI is congruent to triangle A and G, okay, so we can say that angle T is also congruent, okay, to angle A. Is that right? Okay, to angle A. And also we can say that line segment TR is also congruent to line segment AN. Okay, so because these are the corresponding parts. So we have your T, and then A, and then we have TR, and then we have AN or NA. So these corresponding parts of these two triangles are congruent also because it's been given that both triangles are congruent. So we're going to use this proof a lot during our future discussions. Okay, so let's say we have this example. Triangle TRI is congruent triangle ANG. Okay, so this is the given here. Okay, the given is this, and we want to know what's the corresponding part of angle R and also its congruent part. Okay, since we know based from CPCTC that the corresponding parts of those two congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, therefore we can say that the corresponding angle of angle R is angle N. Okay, and therefore, okay, since they are corresponding parts, therefore we can say that angle R is congruent to angle N. Okay, and also we have here line segment RT. Okay, so what's the line segment that's the corresponding part? What's the line segment that's the corresponding part on triangle ANG? Okay, so it could be line segment AN or line segment NA. Okay, so we have your RT and then we have AN. And then we have angle N. So we have here angle R is congruent to angle N. Therefore, we can say that angle N is congruent to angle R. And then we have NG. Okay, so we have NG, and NG measures, we want to know what line segment is congruent to line segment NG, and we all know that it's line segment RI. Okay, and RI measures 5 meters, so therefore we can also say that line segment NG also measures 5 meters. So how about AG? So line segment AG, what's its corresponding part on TRI? So its corresponding part on TRI is line segment TI. And we know that line segment TI measures 12 meters. We can say that line segment AG also measures 12 meters. Okay, then we have line segment A. Okay, so, I'm sorry, we have angle A. Okay, so we have angle A, and we want to know the its corresponding part. Its corresponding part in triangle TRI is angle P. Okay, so we can simply write here angle P. And again, we have here RI. So we have here RI. RI is congruent to NG, okay, and NG again, okay, since we know that RI measures 5 meters, okay, so we can say that it's 5 meters, or simply we can also say that it's congruent to NG. And then lastly, we have angle I. So angle I, it's the angle that's corresponding to angle I is angle G, okay, and we all know that the measurement of angle G is 61 degrees, so we write here 61 degrees. Okay, so moving forward, we have all of the properties of equalities that we need in order to come up with good two-column proofs for our subject. So now we can tackle the specific topic of SSS triangle congruence, or the side-side-side triangle congruence, for our geometry topic. Okay, since we already know about the equalities, the properties of equality, and we also established the CPCTC, or the congruent parts of congruent triangles, or congruent postulate. We've already established that, and we know that if two triangles are congruent, their corresponding parts are also congruent, then therefore we can tackle the SSS, or the side-side-side triangle congruence postulate, with ease, or with so much ease, because we already have a good foundation about this topic. Okay, so for this short activity, we have here triangle ALW. Okay, so we have two triangles. We have triangle ALW, and we also have triangle FOR. Okay, we have triangle FOR. Okay, so we want to know which sides are congruent to the following sides here given. Okay, so we have here side WA, or line segment WA. Okay, so it's stated here, and it's very obvious that the line segment that it's congruent with, so WA is congruent to line segment FR. Okay, and also we have OR. Okay, so we have your OR, and we just have to look at the signs. Okay, we just have to look at the symbols here, and it's stated here, or we can clearly see that line segment OR is congruent to line segment LW. Okay, line segment LW. So how about OF? So we have here OF, and again we have the symbol, okay, and we can see on the triangle that it has another corresponding side here on this triangle. So you have your line segment LA, and therefore we simply write here line segment OF is congruent to line segment LA. Okay, so now guys, we are delving into the realm of two-column proofs. Okay, so we're still going to compute for some values moving forward in the third and fourth quarter, for the second, third, and fourth quarters here in geometry. Moving forward and come third, second, fourth quarter, we're still going to use computations, but for now, in the second and third and fourth quarter, we'll try to maximize the use of the two-column proofs. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so generally, if you're going to create a two-column proof, this is the basic format. Okay, and it's not like you're required to follow this format, but it's very much I think it's kind of like it saves time, because it's already given here on this format. So you can already just simply fill this up. Okay, so I advise you to use this format, but if you have other types of two-column format, so that will be also okay. So we have here the given. Okay, so the given is always the first one that you're going to see in a specific two-column proof problem for SSS, ASA, or any type of congruence problem. Then after that is the proof. Then you have the plan. So the plan is optional. You're just going to state here on the plan how you're going to try to prove the one that it's being asked you to be proved for your specific problem. So it's just generally a descriptive or a narrative statement on how you're going to prove what's being asked for you, what's being asked to be proven here in your given problem. But this is the general format. So it's we have here the column, the statements. Okay, so the statements, this is where you put the logical sequence of your proof. Okay, so we have here the logical statements, and it has to be logically arranged. Okay, and it has to lead to the item that you are trying to prove. And then we have the reasons or the proofs. So these are the postulates, the theorems that back up your statements. It's kind of like, again, you're having a debate, and you have these statements that you've created yourself, and you have your reasons or proofs based from your related literature or the studies that you have studied or you've reviewed, and you have kind of like went through so much. Okay, so this is the basic format. Okay, so we have here our first problem. Okay, so we want to prove that these two triangles are congruent. Triangle CAL. Okay, triangle CAL is congruent to triangle LMA. Given that triangle CAL and LMA are both triangles, okay, and line segment CL is congruent to line segment AM, and line segment CA is congruent to line segment ML. Okay, so to fill out this two-column proof table that we have, okay, so we're given here the format. We're just going to try to fill it out given our information here. So we have here the diagram. Okay, so it's very clear. We have here this diagram, and for the given, okay, we simply write the given that's been given to us. Okay, so we can write here that triangle. Okay, wait, so let's turn that to black. Okay. So we have here triangle CAL and LMA. Okay, so triangle CAL and LMA, and also we can write here on the given that line segment CL and AM are congruent. Okay, and we can also say that line segment CA and ML are congruent because it's written on the given. Okay, and we need to prove. Okay, so we want to write here on the proof. Okay, we need to prove that, okay, triangles CAL, okay, triangles CAL and LMA are congruent. So how do we do that? So first we write here on the statement. So we have here the first statement that we can deduce based from this based from the figure. We can write here the given. Okay, so we can write here CL is number one. CL and AM are congruent, and CA and ML are congruent. So the reason for that would just be simply given. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so let's just try to arrange those. Okay, and we have here given. Okay, and so for number two, okay, we can say for number two that, okay, number two, that line segment AL is congruent to line segment AL also. So what's the reason for that? So that's the reflexive. Okay, so if you remember a while ago from our review, the reflexive property of congruence or the reflexive property of equality. So both of those works. Okay, both of those idea or those property work. Okay, so you have here AL is congruent to AL, and we have the reflexive property of congruence. Okay, and then lastly we have the last proof here, or the last statement. Okay, we can write here, okay, since we know that AL is congruent to AL from the reflexive property of congruence, okay, we can say, okay, we can now confidently say, okay, that triangles CAL and LMA are congruent. So how can we say that they're congruent? Based from the SSS, okay, SSS, triangle congruence postulate. Okay, so if you analyze it very neatly, or if you try to analyze it, okay, so CL and AM are congruent. Okay, so that means they have the same side, and also CL, okay, CL and AM, and CA and ML, so they're also congruent. And lastly, we proved that AL and AL are congruent, so therefore the three sides are congruent, and therefore we have the two triangles being congruent based on the side triangle congruence postulate.